Hello and welcome into our August Lionsgate altar space. I'm coming in here on Sunday, August 9th. We have just moved through the peak of the 888 Lionsgate, and that of course continues through August 12th this week, where it will hand off from that energy to the new moon total solar eclipse in Leo. So it's a very powerful, potent time to get into alignment with the energies that are available so that you can utilize your own intention, free will to connect in and maximize the opportunities that are available in these energies. And I talked a little bit at the end of last week, leading up to the gateway peak, about my take on the Lion's Gate and the ways that you can work with it and the power of intention. So if you didn't hear that, or you'd like to check out my Substack article that I shared as well, over there I have the written information I shared, as well as some links to the beta wave and some of the other aspects that I shared ahead of the gateway peaking yesterday, which also was my birthday. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who reached out with birthday greetings, and just I felt very spoiled yesterday by my family and loved ones, and cards and gifts and flowers and just beautiful gestures from people that I'm just so grateful, and really felt the energy yesterday, and really wanted to set my intention to get in and maximize that myself personally. I hope you did too, but like I said, there is still plenty of time for you to be in this energy. If you do check out that Substack article or the beta wave, there's some guidance there about how you can do a solar plexus energy center alignment in this energy. I also still have available the $8.88 very special personal card pull for you. We start with the Waking the Lion energy coming from the Oracle of the Seven Energies, and then I pull a card just for you in a video recorded reading. So if you're interested or know anybody that would be, instructions for that are also over there on that article. Now, I mentioned that we have a total solar eclipse this week. So yeah, it's one of those weeks where there's a whole lot going on. We have some astrological weather to tap into. I'm going to be diving in deep into that eclipse, this opening of eclipse season, because yes, after this, there will be a lunar eclipse at the end of the month in the sign of Pisces. So it is absolutely a potent time for you to come along if you do feel called to do the new moon empowerment reading and or full moon empowerment reading. They are both available as we move through the month as well. So do check that out if you feel called. Let's get into it here tonight with our beautiful Everyday Enchantment Tarot. We just went through pulling these cards for everyone for the Empowerment Pack for their month ahead readings, and the messages have been very deep and rich, and just as Poppy would have had it here in her beautiful deck. So we'll start there in just a moment, but I want to bring in the Fire Horse energy for connection with this energy of adventure, breakthrough, opportunity, and freedom, which feels very aligned between the Fire Horse and the Lion energy coming in. There's a masculine, fiery energy coming in there that is about inspired action. So breakthroughs, freedom, bringing all of that in here. And yes, I'm still working in the light and the shadow. As you see my shadow puppets, still need to find a ring light here. So we're sort of doing this in the dark, as it is getting on to almost 10 p.m. here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and shuffle up these big and beautiful cards to see what's coming in here this week in the Lion's Gate and at the opening of the eclipse portal. What do we need to know as a collective? What messages are coming in for you to connect in with? And as always, take what resonates, leave the rest. That's how it works with a collective reading. That said, I do love to hear all the wild ways, and I love to share with you the wild ways these cards come to life in each of our lives. So let's see what is coming up to start us off for Monday. Ooh, Judgment, powerful. This card came up last week in some of the readings I was doing. Very powerful depiction of judgment, which really is showing a very empowered choice to walk away from judgment, criticism, shame, lower vibrational energies, and through a doorway, we might even say a gateway to new beginnings. There is a hare here. This represents Archangel Gabriel, the messenger angel, all about bringing in our soul calling and guidance. And all that's coming through here is all these flowers coming out from that trumpet that is really hearkening change, a clarion call. So this is very powerful to start this week with a major arcana card, the second to last major arcana card. So this is definitely speaking to so many of the culminations and wrap-ups that we're seeing in so many ways in our lives, in the world, which is precipitating a new beginning of a higher frequency. So we'll talk about that. Tuesday will mark our potential block or challenge this week. A potential block or challenge coming in for the collective. Let's see here. Saw this one too. Four of Blades, like the Four of Swords. Did this come up last week, I wonder? I know we powered through those cards for that first week of August and did it a little different, but I know that this card came up. There is an energy of the pause, of the retreat, of the relinquishing all of the mental energy, because we're talking about swords, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and really connecting in, earthing, getting grounded, all coming in here. But those fall leaves in the background, once again, depicting release and change, things falling away to create space for new. So there is a pause in that we will explore as how is it a challenge for us to let down those swords and to get grounded and allow for that flow. Okay, Wednesday, midweek blessing, a midweek blessing. And let me get my calendar straight. So 10, 11, 12. Yes, Wednesday is, in fact, the total solar eclipse in Leo. So I'll touch on that a little bit here tonight in the astrological weather. And then again, we'll be diving deep in that for the new moon empowerment reading. So Wednesday's midweek blessing with the eclipse coming in. Knight of Coins. So action energy in the realm of pentacles, coins, earth energy, money, safety, security, material coming in. And like I said, each of these cards from the Everyday Enchantment Tarot is rich with story and symbolism. So we'll tap in a little bit to see what's going on here with the car wash and all of the characters that we see here, facilitating a new energy coming in a tangible way. Now, also slow and steady, because now eclipses can be quick and sudden and abrupt shifts and changes and transporting us to new timelines. And yet that can happen very quickly, but the residual, what is unfolding, will be over the next 6 to 18 months. So it is an initiation into, right? But there is a slow and steady as well in the building up. So we'll feel into that, because it does feel significant that it's on the day of the eclipse that midweek blessing comes in. And then Thursday is bringing in, how are we growing? How have we grown? How may we grow as we move deeper and deeper into Leo season, August? Let's see. Ooh, there's our Magician. Also saw this last week. Magician energy. And this is another major arcana. So last week, I think we had 3 major arcana cards. So far, we have 2 out of 4. And this is number 1. This is number 20. This is number 1. So there's new beginnings on the other side of the things that are falling away and ending, and the seeds that are coming in to initiate something new that is about you. Like I say, action. Pick up the shovel, right? And you are planting those seeds of intention in your spiritual garden. So this is a time for you to harness that energy and step forward with intention. So Magician energy. And then finally, Friday's card will close out the tarot messages for the week. Then we'll pull a Gateway Oracle message. So let's see. Friday's wrapping it up. Post eclipse. Oh, too many fell there. One more go round. One. Oh, nope. Still got a bunch there. Okay. One card, please. One card for Friday to wrap it all up. Let's see. There we go. Ooh, more blades. Ace of Blades. Wow. Another 1. Another new beginning. We've got the messenger energy, the Magician, and now the Ace of Swords coming in here, of clarity in thought, in communication, in beliefs. So something coming in there in the way of an air element. But there's a story here too, as we see this pupper, and I apologize if it's just not very bright here until I have that light fixed. But, we see what's happening here in the veterinary hospital with this animal for a procedure. So we'll talk about that. And yes, the blades can speak to surgical procedures as well. So that is one other way that from a practical point of view that we can read swords. And we do have 2 of the blades sword suit here this week to go with our 2 major arcana cards and 1 earth energy in the middle to ground us. So let's go ahead and pull our final card here. This little Gateway Oracle. Yes, it does feel little. It feels so tiny in my hands after that giant deck. One card here from the Gateway Oracle to put a punctuation mark on this week in the eclipse gateway as we step into eclipse season this week. Let's see what's coming up for the collective. One card. Embarking on an adventure. I savor the wonders of the world. Beautiful. Well, we started with the fire horse connection energy, and the first word was adventure. So we do feel, and this, the hot air balloon gives me cord cutting, release, lightening our load by dropping those sandbags so that we can raise up to a higher perspective, a higher vantage point coming in here. So we'll see what the Oracle brings through for this card, but definitely feels in alignment with these energies. Okay, let's go ahead and check the astrological weather rolling through this week, and then we will get into our intuitive messages. All right, let's dip into a little astrological weather for this week. And by little, I mean just a few aspects to touch on, but not little by any means. So just here and now, it is Sunday, August 9th, and today we had Mercury move into Leo, which is unlocking a new wave of confidence to speak up, to share how we really think and feel. So now maybe a little insight into those 2 swords cards we got this week with that air energy and the element of our thoughts, our beliefs, and our communication, speaking up how we really think and feel. So Mercury moving into Leo is going to bring new clarity and allow us to see things without that cloud of emotions that we may have experienced when Mercury was just in Cancer. So that is coming in, and then Monday kicking things off in the sky, August 10th, Venus opposite Neptune. So this is another beautifully heart activated day for the month. So Venus in Libra, which we talked about last week, will oppose Neptune in Aries. And so that's going to be helping to bring balance and understanding into our lives. Relationship dynamics may feel clearer, or we may start to grow in awareness of how we are playing into patterns that are no longer serving us. We may be confronted with some harsh truths about how we have been contributing to negative cycles, but observing rather than shaming will be key. Now, we're just going to keep hearing that about truths coming to the surface, truths breaking through, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. Here it speaks to even some harsh truths. But as I touched on last week here, and what we're diving into this month in the Empowerment Pack, is these new waves that reveal new shores, new places, new horizons. And I'm looking at that hot air balloon where we can step further and further into our most authentic self. And so in order to do that, nothing but radical truth will suffice. And so what that means is, like I said last week, the frequency of truth is very high, even if the contents of the truth is not, right? So this is about wanting and being open to receive the truth, no matter how it is presented, right? So we'll feel into that with the cards as well. Now, August 11th, we have Mars in Cancer. So Mars moves into watery Cancer, which is slowing our motivation and prompting us to look within. Mars is the fiery planet, but in Cancer, it experiences a cool down. And so we may find that we become distracted from achieving our goals, but this is not necessarily a bad thing. Instead, we can use this time to get clear on our emotions and how they may be guiding our motivation. Are we in it for the right reasons, or are we chasing something that no longer deserves our time and attention? Yeah, so that's definitely powerful, because oftentimes when we're invited to step back or get in that hot air balloon and rise above, zoom out, right? And look at a thing that we are toiling away on, right? Looking at our magician now, digging in that soil. We're toiling away on a thing that we've been trying to manifest, or that we've been trying to hold on to, or however it's presented itself, where we're posed with the question, do I even still want this thing, this person, this place, this status, whatever it is? Or is this something that I've been putting so much energy into that actually no longer deserves the time and attention I've been giving it? So that's coming up for reflection there on the 11th. And funny, I say reflection because, again, the 11th is Tuesday. Our potential block or challenge being that Four of Swords, to reflect, to renew, to be able to really go back over things in a way that is in a place of allowing us to receive, which again feels very Cancerian there with that fiery energy in Mars. Okay, biggie here, August 12th, it's the solar eclipse in Leo. So this is going to be our first dip into these energies. Like I said, I will be diving deeply into it in the New Moon Empowerment Pack this week. So we welcome in a beautiful and incredibly powerful solar eclipse in Leo. This eclipse opens a new doorway that we will get to move down over the next 18 months. Remember what I said about the slow unfolding. It's a powerful road opener for us. So use the day's energies to set your intentions. Think about what you wish to call into your life. While eclipses are powerful times in our year for calling things in, we have to manifest with an open heart so we don't block the flow or the gifts that the universe might have for us too. Now, as this eclipse is falling in Leo, there are some extra heart activations to be had on this day. So allow the solar eclipse energies to open your heart and to remove blocks and barriers that are keeping you stuck. Try to move into a place of feeling rather than getting caught up in your head. There you go again, where we are stepping out of the mind, stepping out of the headziness. Not lost on me that dog in our Ace of Swords is unconscious, right? It's under anesthesia. So it is not conscious in the moment of being in its head and in its thoughts, or even in its environment of where it is, right? So there's this sense of removing those things and getting into a place of feeling and not getting caught up in that analysis paralysis or that loop in the mind. Eclipses are also very karmic events, so pay attention to what transpires not just today, but throughout the month. If big changes arise, trust that they are part of the journey. Like I said, sudden shifts moving us, but there's an openness to receive and trust what's coming through. And then also I'm going to dip into Saturday, August 15th, the final aspect to chat about here, Mercury conjunct Jupiter. So this is a fantastic day for speaking, journaling, and putting our story out there. If you have something you wish to publish or present, today would be a fantastic day to execute it. We can also use this powerful energy to journal. Any efforts to speak our truth will be amplified, and we will gain a better, deeper understanding of how we really feel. Okay, so that's speaking to me because I mentioned about my Substack that I've just opened up over the full moon in Aquarius. I wanted to take some inspired action and really, riding that energy. And I have been I've put a couple of articles out there now. I'm going to share the link again here in case you missed it with all the Lionsgate resources I was speaking about. But this is my guidance to publish. Okay, so the page is called Indigo Jones. That's my pen name. And I've been teasing over there that I am going to share the origins of that. Where is that coming from? What's that about? Because of course with me, there's always a story and there's symbolism and all the things. So it sounds to me, it was very important to me that I initiated that article on 8/8 Lionsgate, my solar return, because it felt like really empowering me to step into my most authentic identity. And so I did that as a draft, and then it's sounding like maybe I should hit publish on the 15th with this Mercury conjunct Jupiter. So maybe the Indigo Jones story will come forward this coming Saturday. So keep your eyes peeled. Like I said, I'll stick the link right here. I'm new to Substack. If you've ever been over there or want to check it out, I am going to be sharing things in written form over there, that it's going to kind of be a launch pad to all the different forms that I communicate, whether it's a YouTube video or even audio, where I'm able to share my articles vocally and you can listen or read. So check that out and do subscribe if you feel so called. And now let's go ahead and turn toward our cards this week for some intuitive messages. All right, here we go. Monday coming right in a major way with Major Arcana card 20, Judgment. So, like I mentioned in the card polls, this card is really bringing forward into our awareness new opportunities to step into purpose. And in so doing, leaving behind the judgment, the criticism, the shame that may be coming from within ourself to ourself, or shining a light on the ways in which we have been judged or criticized, or may have judged or criticized others in a way that's about, there's a little bit of atonement or, understanding this renewal or refresh on our outlook. And she's kind of glancing over her shoulder one last time, stepping away from the energy of something that's definitely no longer serving her. And in some ways, it's depicting a bar, and she's walking out and they're partaking in a way that seems that they're maybe not quite in their highest vibration. And yet, you know, she's stepping out rather confidently. And one of the things that's pointed out here is the spiral tattoo on her shoulder. And the way that that represents an energy of, you know, the coming around again of ways of being. You know, this is an ammonite, like an ammonite fossil, and it's about evolving. This ammonite is evolving into an adder, A-D-D-E-R, which is representing rebirth from a fossilized way of being. She looks back over her shoulder towards a blonde girl that's drinking from a bottle and a man raising his glass. And so in that way, it's a symbol of their continuing to perpetuate a sort of fantasy reality theme that is about, you know, stepping onto a new higher path. And I think it's interesting that that term, a fossilized way of being. So in what ways perhaps have you been in a fossilized state when it comes to perhaps the way that you are viewing aspects of self as well as others, or understandings you've had that are blossoming into something new? The hair and all the flowers bringing forward for us new beginnings, blooming in our life, of fertility, of opportunity in renewal, right? And really rebirth as well. So there is this sense of like continuing to step forward through the Lion's Gate, stepping into the eclipse portal, this opportunity for freedom from judgment, releasing ourselves of fossilized ways of being in order to create true new beginnings in our lives that are more authentic, more open, and more abundant in their ability to grow, blossom and grow into something new. And like there's movement and excitement rather than just kind of sitting there in that state of continual drunkenness, if we will, in the way of it dulling our senses, keeping us checked out. And I don't just mean alcohol. I mean any habits, patterns, ways of being, information that we're taking in that's keeping us sort of sedated is what I'm feeling there. Oh, what do you know? There's our doggy looking at me when I said that. Sedated, in fact. So that does seem like a key word to keep in mind. Okay, let's go ahead and check out Tuesday's energy for a potential block or challenge. All right, Tuesday is our Four of Blades, like the Four of Swords. So bringing in this energy of contemplation, rest, renewal, recovery, retreating, recharging. It's the card of the Rees, right? And then preparation in silence, stillness, and seclusion. So it's stepping away from the fray. Again, whatever is here, that is something that we are answering a call to step away from and maybe take a moment to regroup. And like I said, earthing, getting grounded, literal bare feet to the grass if you can, touching a tree, getting connected in nature and coming back into yourself. Now, this Four of Blades, there's a name for the card that she calls Hear a Pin Drop. And so there's an energy of silence and stillness and quieting of the mind. Now, it's interesting because some of our astrological weather this week does speak to clarity of mind, or, you know, those breakthroughs in understanding that previously we didn't have. So perhaps, you know, and again, this is a potential block or challenge this week. It can be challenging to quiet the mind. It can be challenging to allow ourselves true rest, you know, and to just be and allow there to be stillness and silence. And I don't mean scrolling on our phones, right? But truly unplugging and going within. His eyes are closed and there's this connection to earth, you know, and nature that I'm feeling there. So the other thing is those are spiky weasels that are there. I'm trying to see what she says quickly are the animals that are there. Because there's a number of different animals. There's actually jays, blue jays, jays of some kind. They're not blue, but they're jays, which are known for being rather loud and noisy, cawing. And so there's a sense of, again, quieting out that noise. and really stepping into this energy of grounding. I'm looking to see what those animals are that are down there in the burrow. Badgers. Haha. And there's 4 of them, actually. 4 sleeping badgers are burrowed in their set beneath the earth, while 2 earthy elementals are slumbering with the roots of the trees. So yeah, there's definitely like a settling down, a setting down of that energy of, you know, always needing to be buzzing around and thinking and doing and being and saying and all the things, to allow yourself to retreat and receive. Challenging, especially if it is a very busy or full time. You might have a lot going on. So this is where we find ways to weave it in our day to day, even if it is while we're driving to work or in the in-between or on our lunch break, or, you know, little moments in the shower. That's usually what I say, because, you know, if nothing else, if you are bathing, then there's an opportunity for you to use that time for a little reflection, a little meditation for yourself, and use that water as a cleansing agent to wash away, clear away anything heavy from the crown down. Watch it go down the drain, you know, with an intentional moment while you're there, washing the dishes, or, you know, doing some type of a task that you can also have as a mindful moment if you're needing to find the time and create the space. So that's coming in, challenging you to do just that. All right, let's take a look now at Eclipse Day, Wednesday, coming up here with a midweek blessing. All right, Wednesday, Leo, new moon, solar eclipse. We've got our midweek blessing as the Knight of Coins, the Knight of Pentacles coming in, washing his car. And, you know, in this case, the car is filling in for the horse that we typically see the Knight of Coins with. Slow and steady, that black horse. Here is his black vehicle that he is cleaning with some precision, because as I mentioned about the coins, Pentacles, slowest moving suit of the tarot. So slow, intentional, methodical. So he's here being very efficient in his cleaning of the car, detailing the car, right? And so this is an energy of, on one hand, he's holding the money that he's earned in an open palm. And then in the other, he's wielding a polishing cloth. So it really is a day for him to be here, speaking to what everyone else is doing in the background, scooting by on skateboards, just sort of having a day out, enjoying themselves and being out and about while he's toiling away there on the car. And he's staying very focused on that task. The other teens around him are wearing bright casual clothes, while he wears a conservative dark blue shirt and matching shorts with old-fashioned horn-rimmed glasses and tidy short hair. So there's a sense of he's standing out in a way of being very down to earth and very intentional in his work. So a midweek blessing here feels like, and nights are action energy. So it does feel like an opportunity for you to kind of go back over some things in detail, right? In detailing and seeing where we might need to, shine up, scrub up. There's some, using the car cleaning analogies, opportunities for us to get into routine and procedure and ways of doing things. But also, again, we don't want to get fossilized. We don't want to get too fixed or rigid. So, we're paying attention. We're taking pride in what we're doing, and we're taking action in some way on this day. But there is a slow and steady progress happening here. So building up on this eclipse is really an opportunity for us to really create some momentum for manifestation over these next 18 months. So again, we're going to dive much deeper into this in the New Moon Empowerment reading. Please come along if you are feeling the need for some deeper guidance and understanding to work with this eclipse through ritual, through understanding all the different astrological aspects that are happening around it. Okay, let's keep going. We've got Thursday coming up with our second major arcana card. All right, Thursday is how we are growing. And I mentioned this card came up last week. Back again, card 1 of the major arcana, the Magician. Now, a key word coming in here through the Everyday Enchantment Tarot is action. I've been talking about that. You know, when I did the Lionsgate card polls, we used the fire element along with the fire horse. And the key word there is action, right? We talked about whether we're taking slow, steady, detailed, deliberate action like the Knight of Coins, or maybe a quicker, faster moving here with this Mercury ruled energy of the Magician. So, you know, it's bringing into our awareness the potential that we all have. This is also very masculine energy, the air element. So again, there's thoughts, there's ideas, there's moments of aha, where suddenly it's like, pick up the shovel and start digging, do it, right? If we've been mapping out, thinking about, like if you were, you know, literally planting a garden, but sort of planning out, mapping it out, and then like not taking the action to create it. Where are those things in your life that you've been thinking about and honing and detailing to a fault that now this is the time? How are we growing? We're ready to pick up the shovel and take inspired action. So it's saying, that this magician's earthy pentacles or coins are the golden sunflowers that he has grown from seed, symbolizing dynamic masculine energy. His little son points at these flourishing flowers with pleasure because he was part of their creation. The traditional magician has an infinity sign above his head, while here it's a slow worm that is curled in a figure 8, which represents the eternal Ouroboros. Okay, let's take a look at that. This is a worm. Okay, I think I thought that was a snake last week, but either way, and I'm so sorry, it's so dark and hard for you to see detail, but you know, what it's speaking to there is that the Magician is one of the cards, one of the only cards in the tarot that features all 4 suits, the swords, the pentacles or coins, as it was just speaking to, the cups, and the wands. And so it was just sharing with us what represents the coins or pentacles. And I think it's interesting that it specifically is mentioning that when we're just coming from that Knight of Coins and we're kind of comparing, you know, the difference in the way that those two, the Knight of Coins and the Magician, create, how they act, how they make their magic in the world. And so there's a balancing here too of not being immobile to the point of complete inactivity, which is interesting because we had this 4 of Swords inviting us to take a break, set down those swords, just take a moment, do nothing. And then we have this Knight of Coins kind of picking up the pace and starting to do some very specific and deliberate things. And now we have this Magician energy. So that's also telling me, yes, on the other side of this eclipse, things are going to pick up. Things are going to speed up in a way, even more than they already are. I mean, time, crazy, the way time is passing, the way that things are shifting so quickly, innovating and accelerating in a way that I'm really feeling that in this card, that there's an energy of what these eclipses are bringing in that way as well. Okay, let's take a look at our Friday card to close out the tarot messages for the week, and then we will finish out with our gateway message. All right, Friday, wrapping it all up with this card, and as I explore the messages here in the Everyday Enchantment, this is the Ace of Blades, the swords, new beginning energy here, but there's a rich story. So let's feel into the energy here around the Ace of Blades, representing mental agility, fortitude, justice, breakthrough, precision, that's a word we've been hearing here, victory, conception, lucidity, and plans. Okay, so those are some of the buzzwords. And this is actually a Great Dane. I was like, what? It didn't look like a Great Dane to me, but looking in the story. So let me share with you a little bit about how this image is depicting this message. So we see, the traditional rider waite, if you're familiar, is a hand holding out a single sword, like an offering of that one sword of cutting through clarity. And again, representing thoughts, ideas, beliefs, communications coming in. Now, this is where we see 4 beings on this image. 2 veterinary surgeons operating on a large prone dog. So the dog's laying down under anesthesia, while there's a companion spirit, and that's here on the, there's like little sprites and different elementals that appear in every card. So it's speaking to that companion spirit there. Comforting and healing the sick animal. The vets are looking at an x-ray, and the one on the right is holding up surgical scissors, the blades, to point at something. They seem to have realized something vital to the case, and the atmosphere is one of intense concentration. The color blue is predominant as it symbolizes air and crystal clear thought, as well as reflecting the traditional card design. So yeah, it's saying this Great Dane will recover. She's receiving our best expertise coming in from these 2 vets. And this is really interesting because what they're saying is happening here. Let me see if it's any better if I zoom in. Oh yeah, okay, that's better. Harnessing the light there. So both of these vets are looking at this x-ray. So they're getting an under the surface look at something. And by doing that, they're seeing something that they couldn't see before, that's now coming to light, that is giving them direction on how to help, how to heal, how to perform this procedure for this animal. Okay, so this feels like another aspect of this message that we're tapping into for August about truths and awarenesses and sudden flashes of insight and knowing coming up, being seen, being illuminated. Think about when you look at an x-ray, when it's not in the light, when it's not up on the screen. You can't see, right? It's dark. It looks like a negative. It looks like a film. If you, some of us are very familiar with old timey. My daughter came across an old disposable waterproof camera today in my office, and she was like, "What is this? What's on here? What do I do?" And I was telling her about film and how film had to be developed, and all those things. So likewise, negatives, like when you're looking at the dark x-ray, you can't see all the details, but then you hold it up to the light, or the light shines from behind it, and now it is illuminated. And now you see a completely different picture than what you saw before it was illuminated. Now, the new moon, solar eclipse, the new moon in and of itself is the absence of light, right? We don't see a moon in the sky, and yet the energies are still there and just as potent, just coming in a different phase, in a different presentation. But this is a solar eclipse. So it really feels like that X-ray is really symbolic of the illumination of something coming to the surface, being seen, being understood in a sudden flash of insight and knowing, with that sword coming in, the blade cutting through. So I do think this is like world stage stuff, but also in our little gardens, right? And the way that things could be coming up for us as well, in terms of sudden understandings of seeing something under the surface, seeing something in the light that is now has been there, right? But now we can see it. That is going to take us to our oracle message coming from the Gateway Oracle. So let's take a look at that. All right, closing out our collective messages for the week, we have this Gateway Oracle message: embarking on an adventure. I savor the wonders of the world. New frontiers await you. You are entering a period of expansion and also going beyond self-imposed limitations. Even if you feel hesitant, This is the time to try something new and do things in a different way. You might even visit far off lands. Step out of your comfort zone and into some fun. The universe wants you to know there is a vast and wondrous vista just around the corner, but you'll never see it if you don't venture out. Adventure often entails risk, but without it, life can become lackluster and stagnant. Plan a trip. Take some classes that push you out of your comfort zone. Experiment with new styles. Do the same things that you've always done, but in new and different ways. Go beyond your boundaries and step out of character. Some questions to ask yourself. What is the best adventure for me to take at this time? What has kept me from seeking this in the past? What future adventures do I desire? Wow, so that's a beautiful punctuation mark, because I'm hearing in that, throughout these cards, we were asked to look at some of our ways that we've become fossilized and fixed in our ways of doing things, right? We also talked about the lure of the Judgment card keeping us trapped in a state of sedation, right? So in what ways have we've been an active participant in this, a willing participant in these situations of our own making or maintaining, right? So there's this energy of, and I mentioned about these, the sandbags being dropped from that hot air balloon to create that lift, that upliftment that takes you to see a bigger picture, to zoom out. And it's speaking to me for that Four of Blades, meditation, visualization, taking that time for yourself to put down all of the, the mental aspect of trying to figure everything out from an analytical place, and allow yourself to open up to receive the messages that are coming into you in new and inspiring ways. And the best way to do that is by shaking things up, doing things differently. Now, it said, do what you've always done, but do it different. So I've heard this before. Go to a different coffee shop. If every day you stop and you get a coffee, or you get something, from a convenience store on your way, go to a different one, right? Get a different coffee, get a different drink, a tea, whatever it is. Switch it up, right? So that you're changing up, you're keeping the universe on its toes and giving it an opportunity to surprise you, to delight you, to bring new things into your life. And so, it really feels like this gateway message is like really savoring all of the wonders of the world, even from the most basic and seemingly mundane ways, but bringing in that new energy. So shaking things up a little bit, moving a bit with intention, and allowing that to raise you up to a point of view that you're now seeing a bigger picture, a wider landscape than perhaps you were seeing from a previous fixed way of being. So hopefully that gives you some food for thought for the week to carry you in through this Lion's Gate onto the eclipse and beyond. And if you are feeling that you need some guidance, again, I do have the Oracle of the Seven Energies Lion's Gate card pull available, $8.88 for a card pull for you. So we can weave that into this week's cards, and I'll pull that message for you if you would like, or perhaps check out the New Moon Empowerment reading, where we will be diving deep into eclipse season. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Sending you all much love, many blessings, and we'll talk soon. Take good care.